How to make an outhouse. An outhouse can be a great addition to any rustic home. There are many different kinds of outhouses and ways to make them, but these steps are a good place to start learning about how to build one. They can be handy composting devices and aren't too hard to make. Part 1. Beginning the project. 1. Check your area's restrictions to make sure an outhouse is permitted. There is no one rule for outhouses in the United States, and even less so for the rest of the world. It is unlikely that you will be able to build one in the city. Research local code for the minimum distance between septic sources and water sources, plus any other restrictions on size or depth. 2. Choose a design. There are many different types of outhouse designs, some of them simpler than others. Before building, decide how many seats you want, and whether you will separate stalls by sex. Know the weather in your area. A screen-fronted outhouse is fine for most summers, but won't do you much good in an Alaska winter. Part 2. Constructing the outhouse. 1. Check for underground hazards. For your safety, locate all utility lines before you start digging. In the US and Canada, you can call 811 to request a utility location service. 2. Dig a hole. It's absolutely essential to do this part first, since you won't be able to dig the hole once the structure of the outhouse is already finished. There is no set width and depth for the hole, but you'll probably want it bigger than 2 feet, 0.6 meters, x 2 feet, 0.6 meters. 4 feet, 1.2 meters, x 5 feet, 1.5 meters, seems to work well for a 2-seater. Make sure the walls of the hole are even, this will be important for creating the foundation. 3. Build the outhouse foundation. This frame will go into the hole you just dug. There are as many different kinds of foundations as there are outhouse types. One way is to wrap a wooden structure, like a box, in tar paper and place it in the hole. This will keep out the moisture. Once the box is in, level the ground around the hole and create a foundation of treated wood around the hole. This will be the structure on which you build your floor and your outhouse structure. 4. Build the floor. You have to first make the frame out of timbers, based on the size of your outhouse, before placing the plywood sheets over the frame. You can build directly on top of your foundation, or you can build it elsewhere and place it full completed on the foundation. The frame can be a simple square of 4 timbers, or use additional timbers for reinforcement. Use pressure, treated timbers or untreated hemlock, which has a natural resistance to decay. If you reuse old railroad ties, be aware that they may contain creosote, which requires special handling and disposal. 5. Build the structure of the outhouse. You'll need to use at least 6-inch, 15.2 centimeters, by 6-inch, 15.2 centimeters, timbers in framing the hole. The amount of timbers, their length and width will be determinate on the size of your chosen outhouse. For a strong corner, remember to nail not only the outside corners together, but to also nail through the outer frame corner into the inner frame. You can also use long lag bolts. These require pre-drilled holes using an appropriately sized drill bit. 6. Build the roof. Put plywood on top and secure it. From here you can cover it with roll roofing, asphalt shingles, or metal panels over some 2x4s. Some people get fancy with their roofs and add gables and trim, but this is a difficult process. A lip over the front of the outhouse offers a little protection against rain when leaving the outhouse. 7. Build the seat if you want a sitting outhouse. You can get a commercial seat and attach it over the rectangular opening you left in the flooring. Or you can build a seat out of wood. For the wooden seat, you can make one out of 2x4 lumber or plywood and add a toilet seat. The height of the seat will depend on your needs. If you have a child, constructing a child seat can be useful in helping them use the outhouse. 8. Create ventilation. Install 2 small windows or openings to cross-ventilate for smell and air. Add screens to keep out flies. Prevent people looking inside by installing the windows high up on the walls, or by installing a simple hinged shutter you can close from the inside. Part 3. Maintaining the outhouse. 1. Make it sustainable. Keep a small, covered container nearby full of wood ashes, lime, untreated sawdust, coconut coir, or peat moss. Toss a handful of this material into the pit after each use to help the decomposition process. These carbon-rich materials absorb liquid and create an odor barrier. Keep a small trash can with a lid in the outhouse to dispose of menstrual pads, tampons, and other objects that do not decompose easily. To help keep the pit clear, use biodegradable toilet paper or dispose of toilet paper in a covered trash can for later burning. 2. Clean the outhouse. This is an important job because it helps keep the area from contamination. If you've been using the wood ashes method outlined above, the refuse should resemble something you'd put on your garden and shouldn't be too difficult or disgusting to handle. Some people have a space created at the back of the privy with a sort of gate which they can open and rake out the refuse. This often requires that an outhouse is built into a hillside or on a high foundation. Once you've raked it out, you will need to bury it somewhere on the property at least 30 feet, 9.1 meters, away from a water source or runoff. 3. Grow flowers on the outside. Many old-time outhouses used to be covered by flowers to make them smell nice and give it an attractive appearance. There's no sustainable reason to do this except for attractive aesthetics. Tips. The old saying goes, anyone can build an outhouse, but not everyone can build a good outhouse. Don't make it too complicated if you are inexperienced. Warnings. Be careful when woodworking.